Freedom Wing. I hope this video finds you well. I wanted to do a little tutorial on all the acronyms that you may are hearing, but you're not quite sure and you don't want to ask. We're going to talk about enlisted force development today. So I'm hoping that this video will help maybe unmystify what all these acronyms mean and how it applies to you and how it is important as we grow and develop. So today I'm going to talk to you about what is force development, what your role in that is. I'm going to talk to you about what a development team is, what key billets and key personnel lists are, what the Enlisted Development Education Boards, that EDEB, that is actually out there waiting for everybody to populate their applications in currently, what a Reserve Enlisted Development Plan, that's the EDP, and then what EPME, right, so Enlisted Professional Military Education is. So a lot of acronyms, and we're just going to jump right in. So force development. So I'm going to read to you the definition and then we're going to talk about it. So force development is a deliberate series of challenging experiences. When combined with education and training, force development directs opportunities at producing airmen who possess the tactical expertise, the operational competence, and strategic vision to lead and execute the full spectrum of Air Force mission both today and tomorrow. So education plus training plus experience gives us that holistic approach to the enlisted force that we're looking for today, right? And then the leaders we are looking for today and tomorrow. So what force development aims to do is produce adaptive, creative, knowledgeable, enabled airmen. So we're looking for the right person at the right place at the right time. So force development applies to everyone, right? This is not just an enlisted thing. This is not just an officer thing, and it spans all statuses, right? So it's your ARTs, your AGRs, IMAs, traditional reservists, and civilians. So development includes teaching, training, educating, coaching, counseling, and properly assigning people to increase their knowledge, skills, and confidence. So what does that mean? So that means that we as mentors, as peers, we should always be working to mentor and develop each other, right? So iron sharpens iron. That's what we're looking for, right? And then these development tools are ways to help get you to where you need to be by developing you. So let's dive into enlisted force development. So what are the benefits of it, right? So when we're talking, let's talk commanders and supervisors. So the competency level of airmen increases due to their experiences and better education and training. So what that means is when they're looking out there and they're trying to look at the competency level and experiences that you bring to the fight, right? It then ups that competitiveness amongst each other. And it's good competitiveness, right? We want the right person at the right place at the right time. So for a reservist, though, it gains visibility into all manpower positions in their function. It gains visibility into all vacancies. It gains opportunity to compete for key billets. And they gain increased competency and structured accessibility to education and training opportunities. For the functional managers, the functional communities gain oversight over the health of their functional area. So what does all that mean, right? So when we are looking at the enlisted force and we are looking for, okay, I have this position and I need this skill set to go into it, how do we determine who that person is? Who is that right person at the right place at the right time, right? And it's how we look at the holistic approach of an airman. What are their skills? What are their experiences that have brought them here that will bring that to the fight for this position? So for commanders and supervisors, right, they're looking at that. For the reservists and all of us, right, we're looking, who is that right person? For the functionals though, so those that are sitting at AFRC and at the HAF in your respective career fields, they can look at the health of their career field and go, okay, are we progressing? Are we developing? Are we still at that operational level? Are we at a tactical level? Or do I have those airmen that are truly at that strategic vision level, right? What I want to talk about in this slide is the tiering, right? There's a 3-tiered career development diagram that talks about where kind of you should be depending on your rank, on your skill level. So when we look at tier 1, that could be Airman Basic through Chief, right? We all are in that tier 1. That's our core AFSC. So for me, my core AFSC is a 1 Papa 091. So I'm an aircrew flight equipment craftsman. Well, I was a 9 level. So, but everybody falls into that tier 1 at some point in their life, right? It's your functional AFSC. It's where we're force managed. That's where you'll find your basic military training, your tech school, your upgrade training. That is all in tier 1. And as we know, we can cross train and move, and so we can all fall in that tier 1 at some point. So tier 2 is where we focus in on special duty. And I think special duty, sometimes people aren't quite sure what that means for us in the reserves. So special duty is that MTI, right? The MTI down at basic training. That is our first sergeants. That's our career advisors. That's IG, right? So those are those positions that you actually step out of your career field, get some goodness, some good knowledge, right? But it also means off-ramping and going back into your career field and bring some of that goodness that you learned back. And then tier 3 is truly our chief master sergeants, right? So that's our strategic level thinkers, right? Those are the ones that are sitting at the table that is the voice of the enlisted, whether it's in your AFSC, if it's outside of it, it's joint, it's MAGCOM, it's command chief, it's group superintendent, you name it, it's that chief, right? So that's what we're looking at when we look at a tier. So that is the diagram of the tiering system. So rolling into the enlisted career pyramid, this kind of gives you a snapshot of what kind of falls into the pyramid, starting at Airman all the way up to Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. And I'll give you just a little time to look that over, but it kind of outlines, if you look to the right side, kind of where you should be hitting those marks for professional military education. On the left side, it will walk you through what your skill level training should look like with your 5, 7, and 9. And then those job titles, right, that you should have commensurate with both of those in the middle. So when you look at, we'll take a staff sergeant, right, who's just gotten their 7 level. They can be a supervisor, a trainer, an NCOIC, they can be a mentor. We're all mentors. But then if you roll to the right, here's the things that they should be working on, right? They should, if they haven't already completed their CCAF, they probably should be working on civilian education, but be looking at that Nco Academy. They should be looking at Nco Leadership Development course. So this will kind of give you a roadmap on where you should be on your enlisted development. So let's roll into development teams, because I think there's sometimes a mystery around development teams and what they mean and what they do and whatnot. So development teams, they participate in vectoring and scoring processes. They share individual experience with the panel members. Each panel member brings a different experience, a different look at these development teams and panels that we sit on. The action officer is actually the lowest ranking on the board, right? So that's your E5 and E6, and they operate the console, they break ties, which happens a lot, and then kind of keeps us focused on the task at hand so we don't get down a rabbit hole. So we have an admin team. They're the ones that help set up the computer system. All packages, when you apply for your career field or the E8, E9, DT, are fed into this computer system. We all see it at the same time and we grade accordingly. It's everything that is in your personnel record. That's why when I tell you if you're applying, you've got to review your records like right up until the minute. Make sure that bachelor's that you just finished that is in there. You know, if you did NCO DC, it's in there. Your last decoration is in there. Those are all discriminators when it comes down to the board looking at you, because we have amazing airmen doing amazing things, and every little thing can be a discriminator, right? So never, ever, ever count yourself out by not doing a good records check. Then we have the DT chair. So the development team chair is the one that facilitates the entire panel, right? They facilitate discussions, they give thought-provoking questions when things are being discussed, and they are the tiebreaker when anything like that occurs. So let's roll into the two different types of DTs. So currently, as it stands today, we have the functional, which is your AFSC specific development board, which depending on the AFSC can be technical sergeants up through chief, and then some career fields are master sergeant up to chief. Additionally, there is a special DT. There is the E8, E9 DT. So that means any senior master sergeants and any chief master sergeants apply to be on the command level development team. That one is actually, the panel chair is Chief White, who is the AFRC command chief. So, but what does that mean? What does it mean to be on a KPL, right? So when you go and you sit, your package is scored by a development team and you're told you are on a KPL. What does that mean? So we're going to dive into that. But first we're going to go into what do they look for on the panel. So the things we look at. What has he or she done, right? What does he or she want, right? What does his or her boss say? And then what does the performance reflect? And the way that we look at those things are multiple, right? So we look at your developmental education, so your PME. We look at your duty history. We look at your education. We look at your points as far as your participation level. We look at decorations, and we do look at deployments. So when we look at all these things, we get most of the data comes direct from ARPC, from your records, but it also has to do with what you put in on that development sheet that you route through your supervisors, right, that goes to the board. So it's very important when you put what do you want, right? So if you have no desire of moving out of your current position, you're comfortable, it's where you want to be, that is awesome. Tell us that, right? It gives the chance for those that want to go and do something further, we can vector them accordingly, right? So if you are that person that, hey, I want to be the next Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, we need to know that so the board can then vector you accordingly. Hey, you're missing this. If you're wanting to be this, then perhaps you need to look at this. That's what that development team is for. They're here to help give you vectors to get where you want to be. So this is something that never occurred when I was growing up through the Air Force. I just had to figure it out on my own. So I will tell you, when the DTs come around, never ever burn a bridge. You may be comfortable in the here and now and think you never want to move, you never want to do anything else, you don't want to be a senior, you don't really care to be a chief, and that's fine. Never burn a bridge. Fill it out, you never know. 2-3 years down the road, things change. So I encourage you, go ahead, give it a try. You can put in there you're comfortable where you are right now, but at least get a feel for filling it out and going through the process. So once you are boarded, right, your package is boarded, and they go, oh, congratulations, you've made the KPL. What does that mean? What is a KPL, right? So the KPL is the key personnel list. So the functional KPL, which is your AFSC, contains the top members in each grade reviewed by the DT. So the best of the best, right, in your career field, in your rank. The command KPL contains the top senior master sergeants and the top chief master sergeants, and is currently used to fill those key but also those strategic positions. KPLs are referenced when making other development and career management decisions, and Active Duty Air Force and the Senior Enlisted Management Office, they actually maintain the senior and chief KPLs, and functionals keep their own KPLs. So when people are going out there looking to hire for jobs, it is not uncommon for them to reach back to your MAJCOM functional, so your AFSC functional in your career field, right? And go, hey, did they make the KPL? Because that means something. It means you have been vetted and it's something that you're wanting to do. For those E8s and E9s, they're looking at them, right? They're looking at them. How competitive are they? Because your package has already been vetted, right? Where are they at amongst their peers in the senior master sergeant ranks or in the chief master sergeant ranks? That's already been done for them, and they are looking. So it is important to try and strive to be on the key personnel list. So the E8 and E9 KPLs are managed, like we said, by Active Duty Air Force. They were created and held each year in May. Membership, of course, is voluntary, absolutely voluntary. When applying for a key billet, though, the KPL membership affords you stronger consideration by the hiring authorities. Currently, new guidance has come out for command chief positions and any truly coded key billets. You must be on the KPL. The hiring authority will no longer get any applications sent to them if they have not been on the KPL. So let's roll into enlisted developmental education boards. What is that? So that is actually out there right now. There is a suspense to me that is coming up for these education opportunities that are above and beyond anything that you could probably ever imagine. So they are held annually in May as well at ARPC. This year it's got pushed out because of everything that's going on to June. They're open to technical sergeants through chiefs. Requirements, so these are the things that you need to be looking for. Having that senior enlisted joint PME is highly encouraged. It is absolutely a discriminator right now. You must have a current and passing PT test. Absolute. Master Sergeant through Chief as CCAF is absolutely required, or, right, that associates or higher, the equivalents. And you must have all PME for your rank done. Technical sergeants must have the NCOA completed, and a CCAF or equivalent is highly encouraged. For the E8, E9 board, in order to be eligible, you have to meet the EDEB, so they go hand in hand. So here's the purpose of it. Selection of enlisted members for the EDB. They're looking for enlisted professional development courses. There's joint courses, Nato courses, and then there's some short residency courses. Some courses that are very interesting that are out there are the joint, the sister service courses that you can go to. So we can go to our sister equivalent NCOA. So there's a Coast Guard one, there's a Navy one, the Naval Academy for NCOs. And those are some of the ones that you can compete to go to, and they will count. I had the privilege of going to RCNSC, which is the Reserve Component National Security course, which is in Washington, D.C. It's amazing. These are amazing opportunities to put another tool in your toolbox, to give you an experience to then bring to the fight in your current situation, or maybe a leadership position that you'll have later. So like I said, we'll go over kind of what the seats look like, how many we get, how many alternates they select. So the Navy Senior Enlisted Academy is for senior master sergeants. Typically, there's only 4 quotas, which means 4 seats, and we usually select 8 alternates just in case, right? For the Coast Guard Petty Officer Academy, that's for Master Sergeants, we get 6 seats and we do 8 alternates. For the Marine Corps Staff NCO Academy, Master Sergeants again, 4 seats, 4 alternates. For the NATO, which is the one everybody wants to go, it's overseas, Senior NCO Orientation Course, we usually get upwards of 400 applicants for this class for 6 seats, and we do 6 alternates. The NATO NCO Intermediate Leadership Course is for Tech Sergeants and Master Sergeants for 4 seats, 4 alternates. The NATO NCO Advanced Leadership Course, which is for Seniors and Chiefs, 4 seats, 4 alternates. So here's some course descriptions. Maybe it'll pique your interest and get you to think about applying. So the Enlisted Professional Development, we're looking at RC and SC, like I spoke about. It's also the International Senior NCO Leadership Development Course, which is also known as InLead. It's held all over the world. And then there's a Chief Leadership Course, which you obviously have to be a senior in a chief billet getting ready to pin on chief or a chief master sergeant to attend. Joint courses, we have the Navy Senior Enlisted Academy, the Coast Guard Chief Petty Officer Academy, the Marine Corps Staff NCO Academy Advanced Course, and then the NATO courses. These are the ones that everybody wants. We have the NATO Senior NCO Orientation Course, the NATO NCO Intermediate Leadership Course, and the NATO NCO Advanced Leadership Course. And all the description of these courses can be found if you go to VPC and then Force Development on the left side of the screen. You can go in and dive into each one of these courses. So let's move on to Reserve Enlisted Development Plans. So the EDP, so the Enlisted Development Plan, is the tool used to influence and develop the development of your career based on your military experience, life events, and civilian experience. It's located in VPC through the MyPERS portion. You must be current within 12 months and DT ready no later than 30 days prior to the scheduled DT. So what does that mean? So it means when you do your EDP, it has to be ready, all vetted through all the tiers that it has to go to approve it, right? Within no later than 30 days prior to when the board is meeting. All those board dates you can also find in MyPERS under Force Development. You have to update it at least once a year, and it requires 2 levels of coordination whether the info changes or not. So what does that mean? Does that mean that one of those coordinations has to be the command chief? No, it doesn't have to be. It can be completely within your chain. But it has to have 2 levels. If it does not have 2 levels, and I don't mean like if you're a master sergeant, you have your supervisor who is a senior and then his friend senior does it too. No, it has to be 2 levels of coordination. So if you have your superintendent do it, then the next level should probably be your OIC or your commander. So the EDP is critical for development teams and school boards. It puts everything together for us to look at when we're looking at your package on the development teams. It is your tool to communicate your military, civilian, and personal career goals, accomplishments, and experience. It gives a voice to the papers we're looking at, right? It lends your voice to what you want. It gives your chain of command, so your supervisor, your commander, whoever you've tiered that through, it gives their voice to what they think you're ready to take on and what your potential is. It's used for potential hiring, and then any and all portions of the EDP, the individual's input, senior leader input, and the DT feedback will be made available to school boards, career management boards, and command screening boards. So let's talk real quick. I think everybody is familiar with Enlisted PME, right? So all in residence EPME is centrally funded for TRs, Arts and Mill status, and AGRs. So let's start with Airman Leadership School. So max in residence participation is encouraged. As you all know, we have the Kish ALS schoolhouse here, and we work very hard to get seats for you here so you can be here on location, be as close as you can to your family. But we do have some that want to go to some different states, different bases to do it, and that's fine as well. So what I ask you to do is apply and apply early, right? Just because we don't have seats currently doesn't mean that we don't have a waiting list. We absolutely have a waiting list. So go ahead and apply and get your name there so as soon as the seat comes open, we can get you into one. So the Nco Academy and the Senior Nco Academy. So both, if you want to go in residence, just like ALS, it requires coordination through myself and Colonel Pemberton. Again, apply early, right? Seats are limited, and we want to make sure that you get there. So the Nco Academies, the seats have been reduced due to Tyndall, right? And they're the natural disaster, right, that happened there. So seats are extremely limited. So, but that doesn't mean that you don't go ahead and apply. So apply, get your name on that list so we can then get you into a class. The Senior Nco Academy, there's only one, right, for the Air Force, and it's at Gunter, down in Alabama. It's an amazing course. I highly recommend you do it in residence. It is joint, it is sister service, it's international, it's amazing. You will learn so much more than you would ever learn by trying to do it by CDC. It's a great class. It's a little long, but it's a great class. What I suggest is if you do have the time, if you can take off from work and you can take time away from your family, do it in residence. If not, do it by correspondence. Get it done. You need to. So the Senior Nco Academy is mandatory to pin on Senior Master Sergeant. So get it done early. And then we have the Chief Leadership course. So the Chief Leadership course, it is an active duty course. They have to attend that before they pin on Chief Master Sergeant. For us, it is an optional course. We have to attend the Chief Orientation course, which is at Robbins to pin on Chief. But I will tell you that the Chief Leadership course, I've done it. It was amazing. I learned so much by being around both my active duty and Guard brother and sisters. So another great class to attend. So I hope that walking through what each one of these pieces was and what they mean kind of helps dispel any mystery around what it is. I will tell you, they all fit in together. So the very foundation of all of this is a good EPR, right? So a good EPR feeds into that foundational part of a package that goes into your development plan, which goes to the development team, which feeds into the KPL, which also feeds into the EDEB, your Reserve Educational Board and classes. So I hope that this has been helpful. I hope it was informational. Please, if you have any questions, please go ahead and email me. I will take whatever questions. If something just didn't sound right, it didn't make sense, you have more thoughts, please shoot me an email and I will absolutely help you through it or find you the answer you need. Again, I hope this video finds you well. I hope it was helpful, and stay safe.